Princess Vivi Nefertari became an assassin and sailed with pirates, all to rescue her home country from a tyrannical warlord. It was no small feat, but have you ever wondered how she did it? In One Piece, we do bear witness to a good portion of her journey. We see how she exited Baroque Works, joined the Straw Hat Pirates, and dismantled Baroque Works in her own country of Alabasta during a civil war. But what we don't see is way before this, when Vivi first becomes a Baroque Works agent in order to discover the secrets behind this crime syndicate, and the relationship to the dance powder incident that turned her home country upside down. Let's take a look at what we know happened and what most likely happened as Vivi infiltrated Baroque Works. So where can we start? The dance powder incident. The dance powder incident goes back 3 years prior to the beginning of the main series, in the city of Iramalu. A shipment of dance powder was brought to its port. It was transported by Baroque Works agents in disguise. The Baroque Works members spilled the giant shipment of dance powder on purpose and lied, saying that King Cobra ordered a shipment of dance powder to be delivered to the capital of Alabasta. This is significant because dance powder has the ability to create rain. However, this rain can only be generated by siphoning moisture from the atmosphere at the expense of neighboring towns and cities. The entire incident occurred during a terrible drought that had been devastating the country. As a result, the people of Alabasta began to blame the king for abusing dance powder and taking away the country's rain and collecting it for himself. These false rumors eventually erupted into a growing rebellion against the government of Alabasta. Now, with the reputation of the king and the royal family sullied, there was very little that could be done to keep Alabasta in good standing with its people. But around the same time, Vivi, along with her caretaker and the captain of the royal guard, Igaram, found that the dance powder incident may have been orchestrated by a secret criminal organization known as Baroque Works. Because of the growing dis-ease of the Alabasta people and the mounting rebellion, Igaram and Vivi decided to infiltrate Baroque Works in order to investigate who was responsible for the dance powder incident, as well as prove the king's innocence. Based upon the structure of Baroque Works, we know that Vivi and Igaram must have started out as billions or millions. These are the foot soldiers of the Baroque Works syndicate, that also could be described as minions. Their job is to work directly under either the officer or frontier agents of Baroque Works. However, they have the opportunity, through the completion of major accomplishments that support or benefit Baroque Works, to be promoted, first to frontier agents and then potentially to officer agents. Now, it isn't quite clear how Vivi and Igaram actually infiltrated the organization in the first place. Based on the activities of Baroque Works, agents or subordinates are usually invited into the organization based upon their skill, abilities, or ambitions. And based upon the activities of Baroque Works, what these agents do as a part of their role are things like steal, bounty hunt, and execute various other illegal tasks in order for Baroque Works to become richer or otherwise support the mission of Mr. Zero, their leader. It's very possible, given Vivi's skills as a fighter and Igaram's position as the captain of the royal army, that they had to do some illegal bounty hunter-like tasks in order for them to become members of Baroque Works, but also to climb the ranks in order to become frontier agents. They may have had to capture some criminals with bounties. They might even have had to steal. We see in Vivi's first appearance on screen that she was in the process of attacking Laboon in order to gain some monetary value as a mission assigned to her within Baroque Works. So it could be assumed that she had to do similar tasks in order for her to maintain her status or grow within the organization. Combat-wise, it isn't clear when Vivi learned all of her skills. However, it is clear that when she was a member of Baroque Works, she did possess some skills that allowed her to improve her status. She possessed some significant infiltration skills, particularly based on the fact that she used them in order to infiltrate Baroque Works in the first place. And she also had some very good combat skills. Vivi employed two techniques primarily in order to gain the upper hand against her opponents. One was her peacock slashers. These dual-wielded blades on strings were based upon the Japanese ninja tool, the Kyoketsu Shoge. Vivi's peacock slashers were a mid to long range weapon that were likely strong enough to decapitate someone if wielded correctly. Vivi also employed the ability of her vertigo dance. This was a hypnotic dance that she used in order to immobilize her opponents that was aided by a circular hypnotic bustier that she wore when she was performing this ability, as seen in the manga. And because she brought her companion Kadu with her, she also utilized his speed and agility in order to support her in battle. It isn't quite clear when Vivi learned these abilities, but she certainly employed them when she was a part of Baroque Works. Additionally, as shown in flashbacks of her when she was in her youth and as a part of the Sand clan, even as a princess, she was strong, capable, resilient, and smart. During her time as either Millions or Billions, she was most likely working a lot with Igaram, as they were infiltrating together and using that closeness for safety. But when it was time for them to get promoted into frontier agents, which are comprised of the 6 through 12 most important or powerful agents within Baroque Works, they were in some ways split apart. Vivi was promoted within 2 years' time to a frontier agent. She was paired with Mr. Nine, and Igaram was paired with Miss Monday. This was also the time that they acquired their code names, which all officer and frontier agents have to show their status within the organization. Igaram became Mr. 8, and Vivi became Miss Wednesday. But the fact that they had to get new code names as a part of Baroque Works also betrays the fact that they have to have had other types of aliases before they became frontier agents. Vivi is a princess and a part of the royal family of Alabasta, so using the name Nefertari in her infiltration of Baroque Works would have given her away, as well as Igaram. So it's most likely the case that Miss Wednesday and Mr. 8 were not their first aliases. When they first infiltrated the organization, they most likely had other names or aliases that are right now unknown to the series in order for them to do their work effectively. Now, having proven their worth to Baroque Works, Vivi and Igaram's missions were now to figure out who Mr. Zero was in order to determine why the dance powder incident occurred and how to clear King Cobra's name. Now a frontier agent, Vivi was now able to spend her time a little bit more effectively towards completing her mission because she had status. She was effectively among the 26 most powerful members of the organization. Her mission was then to tail Miss All Sunday. Miss All Sunday is known as the partner of Mr. Zero, the leader of Baroque Works. So she decided to tail her in order to find out his true identity. Now, Miss All Sunday was very wise. She's Robin, who eventually joined the Straw Hat crew. But as Miss All Sunday, she did find out that she was being tailed and simultaneously found out the identity of Igaram and Vivi. Miss All Sunday allowed Vivi to find out the true identity of Mr. Zero for her own purposes. However, she also let slip the identity of Vivi to Mr. Zero. And that is when she became a target of the organization herself. It is unclear exactly what Miss All Sunday did in order to find out her true identity. She likely could have heard Vivi speaking to Igaram at some point, but there were a variety of tells, particularly the fact that Karu, Vivi's duck companion, who was with her the entire time she infiltrated Baroque Works, and also was technically a member of Baroque Works, considering all the animals that were in the syndicate were also technically agents, is a species of duck, the super spot-billed duck, that is native to Alabasta. And that's where we find ourselves in the main series of One Piece. It's likely that even as Vivi was on her mission to kill Laboon for his meat, the Baroque Works Syndicate already knew about her true identity. But because during her time as a frontier agent she created such a strong relationship with her partner Mr. Nine, when it was time for her true identity to be revealed, he stuck by his partner even at his own expense. So even as Miss Wednesday, she still maintained her ability to charm and to lead and to create strong relationships with the people around her, just like she did when she joined the Straw Hat Pirates. This was the way that Vivi likely infiltrated Baroque Works in order to save her kingdom. This was a 2-year project that required her to learn espionage, fight, and control her emotions while being in disguise in order to protect what she loved most. What she and Igaram did was certainly no small feat, and although it was underplayed in the entire series because we don't actually see very much of that journey, it can be compared to other important players within the One Piece world who served as double agents. Vivi is a very strong character and a great example of what it means to be both a princess and a warrior.